Hello boys and girls, it's Tuesday today and today we are going to read Mr. Brave, and this is what Mr. Brave looks like. Mr. Brave, I'm looking forward to this story a lot. This is a story about Mr. Brave. Now Mr. Brave is not as strong as Mr. Strong, and he's not as tall as Mr. Tall. But as you will soon see, that does not stop him being brave. This story happened last Tuesday when little Miss Bossy rang Mr. Brave to invite him to tea. "And don't be late," he shouted down the phone. It was a very stormy day, but Mr. Brave knew that little Miss Bossy's temper was worse. So he set off for little Miss Bossy's house, hurrying along as fast as he could to be sure he was not going to be late for tea. There he is in a hurry. It's such a windy day. I hope he doesn't get blown away. Along the way he heard a cry for help. It was Mr. Messy. He had been blown into the river by the wind. Mr. Brave did not want to be late for little Miss Bossy. But being the brave fellow he was, he jumped into the river and rescued Mr. Messy. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. Messy. "You are so brave, Mr. Brave." "Well done, Mr. Brave, for doing such a kind thing." Wet right through, Mr. Brave hurried on along the lane. Suddenly he heard somebody sobbing loudly. Who could it be? Oh, I wonder who could it be crying? Let's see. It was little Miss Summersault. She was balancing on a tightrope tied between two tall trees. "Oh, Mr. Brave, I'm so lonely," she sobbed. "Nobody will come and play on my tightrope. They're all too frightened of heights." "You're so brave, Mr. Brave," she added. "Won't you come and join me?" "I think he will, but he better not be late for his party." Mr. Brave looked up at little Miss Summersault. He didn't want to be late for little Miss Bossy, but being the brave fellow he was, he took pity on little Miss Summersault and climbed up to the top of the tightrope. Up he goes, really high up. They chatted away happily for a while until Mr. Brave happened to look down. "Little Miss Summersault, look," he cried out in panic. "The rope is going to snap. We're going to fall, and it's such a long way down. Oh, calamity! Oh, help!" "Be brave, Mr. Brave," said little Miss Summersault. "Can you see where the rope is going to break?" "I hope it doesn't break. They better get down quickly. Quick, 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 you two." And without more ado, she carried him safely back to ground. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. Brave with a sigh of relief. That was so kind of her. They didn't fall off. They helped each other get down safely. Little Miss Summersault said goodbye and left Mr. Brave on his own, shaking like a leaf. "I don't deserve to be called Mr. Brave," he said to himself. "I was scared stiff. Thank goodness nobody knows my secret." And nobody does know his secret. Or do they? I wonder what his secret is. I wonder, is Mr. Brave afraid of something? Now little Miss Trouble just happened to be passing, and she had seen and heard everything. And what she had seen and heard had given her an idea. A very naughty idea. She grinned a mischievous grin. "Hey, come here, everybody," she shouted at the top of her voice. "Come and see this." "Oh no, little Miss Trouble. You better not be doing something nasty." Very quickly a large crowd gathered. "I have an announcement," announced little Miss Trouble. "Do you know that Mr. Brave isn't brave at all?" "No, it can't be true," said the crowd all together. "It is true," said little Miss Trouble, "and I'll prove it to you." "Oh, that's not very nice, little Miss Trouble, to say that." "Mr. Brave," she continued, "I dare you to walk across the tightrope." Mr. Brave, you can do it. You can do it, Mr. Brave. See if he does it. Mr. Brave looked at the tightrope, and all the crowd looked at the tightrope. Then all of the crowd looked at Mr. Brave. Mr. Brave suddenly remembered something, an important something. Just look at the time, he said. I'm going to be late for tea at little Miss Bossy's. That's the broken rope that he didn't want to walk on, and he was right. So he was right to say no and hurry off to have tea with little Miss Bossy. Must dash, he cried, and he ran off as quickly as he could. Good job, Mr. Brave. Hooray! Cheered the crowd, and they all clapped and applauded Mr. Brave. Little Miss Trouble looked puzzled. Why are you cheering him? She cried. He ran away. He isn't brave at all. Oh, yes, he is, they all shouted. Would you turn up late for tea at little Miss Bossy's? Little Miss Trouble thought for a moment. Gosh, she said in awe, he is brave after all. What a great story about Mr. Brave. I liked that one. Now today we're going to do a new rhyme. Today we're going to do 5 green speckled frogs. Are you ready? It's a new one and it's a little bit long, but we're able to do it because we're great singers. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. 5 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into their pool, where it was nice and cool. Now there are 4 more speckled frogs. Yum, yum. Now we start again. 4 little speckled frogs, eating on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into their pool, where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 more speckled frogs. Yum, yum. 3 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into their pool, where it was nice and cool. Now there are only 2 frogs. Yum, yum. 2 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool, where it was nice and cool. Now there's only 1 little speckled frog. Yum, yum. 1 little speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. He jumped into the pool, where it was nice and cool. Now there are no more green speckled frogs. Yum, yum. Boys and girls, that was great singing. That's a tough one. That's one that I'm just learning myself, so I would need to practice that loads in school too. I hope you enjoyed singing with me, and you can sing back and look at this again if you would like to. I will see you tomorrow.